So, wow, that's a nice start. I haven't started any interviews like that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to really synchronize and align our breathing and
hmm
us, really, right?
Yeah. We start all of our workshops with like 3 to 5 minutes of just
Mm.
centering and then you start and everything moves very smoothly.
And like you're here, right? Instead of the mind running all over.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
we are here.
Ellie, I was very interested in your write-up
Mhm.
because in my methodology of teaching people how to do blending for themselves, the first pillar and the most important one is always about you. I
Mhm.
think people forget a lot about that, and then they try to do a specific blending to their issues without considering themselves. And you talk a lot about mindset, right? And as I I think it's just so important when it comes to different parts of the life, including health.
Mhm.
So, yeah, tell us, how do you get into this? What mindset is really all about?
Oh,
Such a
that's a
big one.
huge question.
I'm like, let's go big, and then we, slowly come down.
Let's start with everything.
Yeah, let's start with everything.
Yeah. Um, so I talk a lot about mindset, and I also talk a lot about mental discipline.
Right.
Mental discipline. And that is a really big word that I've
Mhm.
kind of discovered, excavated over the years. And to me, what it means is mindset essentially is about having the mental discipline to prioritize the thought patterns, the behavior patterns, and the belief patterns that are in alignment with what is in our highest good.
Wow.
So the mind patterns
Right.
that help us be cooperative components to
Mhm.
the life that we want to live rather than the life that we are accidentally and by default creating when we are not being present.
And you think that when we're not present,
Mhm.
which I think happens a lot of times throughout the whole day, then we're just living. What are we doing really when we're not present?
When we're not present, we're living by default,
Hmm.
right? So when we are not present, we live by default. So we live by the things that happen to be present in that moment, right? And what happens to be present for us most of the time for most people is the things we are afraid of and the things that give us anxiety. So if you think about the things that you focus on accidentally, it's always the things you don't want in your life.
You are so right. It's always the worry and the anxiety of what's going to happen next, or how is this argument going to resolve out.
Yeah. So then when you think about it, when you think about the way we create, how do we create? Creation is essentially a two-step process. Step one, you imagine it with your imagination. Step
Mhm.
two, that imagination builds enough momentum inside of you that it gets to a point where you no longer can keep it from coming into your physical reality, right? So it builds momentum in the non-physical, and then at some point it hits against the wall of physicality, and it has so much momentum that it becomes manifested, right? So that's creation. So then when you think about how we create, and then the fact that most of the time we're focusing on the things we don't want, you realize that we are creating constantly. We're always creating. The problem is most people are most of the time creating the things they don't want, because what we imagine, what they're imagining, what they're putting their attention and all of that creation power behind is the
Mhm.
thing that keep them up at night, essentially, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
how is that argument going to
That was
resolve?
yes.
How's this problem going to solve itself? Why did that person say this to me? I am going to get fired because I made this mistake. So we focus on these things that we don't want. Meanwhile, not realizing that because we are creating and we are creators and we're creating every moment, everything we're focusing on is building momentum. And then what happens? That creation builds more and more and more and more momentum, and boom, we get in a car accident. Boom, we get fired from our job. Boom, that person says something really crappy behind our back and it hurts our feeling, right?
Yeah.
So we create situations in our life that perpetuate those emotional states of being that are keeping us up at night. So we're creating the things we don't want. We're creating by default.
And this is all because of the lack of mental discipline, which essentially is mindset.
Yes. So mental discipline essentially means, hey, I'm fixated on that mistake I made.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have the mental discipline to say, I'm not going to focus on this mistake. I am going to take myself out of the situation. I'm going to take a nap if there's too much momentum there. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to engage in something uplifting. I'm going to make a list of positive aspects of gratitude list. I am going to choose to look at the situation in a completely positive way. What are the things in this situation that are actually working out for me? Okay, I made that mistake. What would it feel like if I just let that go and say, you know what? I made a mistake, but I choose to believe in this moment that everything is always working out for me in my advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I made this mistake, what did I learn from it? How did that allow the situation to work out for me in my advantage? Right? So that's a lot harder to do than fixating on the negative stuff, right? But it is when we continually have the discipline to do that mentally, then what we're doing is we're prioritizing our well-being, and we're turning ourselves into a cooperative component for the type of life that we want to live rather than just like by default, by accident, letting things happen however they want.
Right. And let's just say, because sometimes people get caught up in the worry and the concern about all the things that are going on, and then they tell you that, how can I not be worried about this? Like then how do you work over there?
So my question is, how is worrying about it helping you solve the problem?
I like that. That's right.
Right? Everything that we do it because it helps us in some way, right? So if I'm worried sick about something that's going to happen next week, is that helping me, show up in a better way next week for that event, for that interview, for that conversation? Is it helping me? And the answer is no. When you worry about something, you are you're imagining the worst case scenario. So if my worrying about it is not helping, what would help me? What would help me is identifying what outcome I actually want in the situation. So what would I want to come out of that conversation, that difficult conversation? What do I want the outcome to be from this event that's about to happen, that's that's worrying me? So when I kind of like create clarity around what it is that I actually prefer to happen, then I can ask the next question. So what are some ways I can set myself up for success? Right? So what are some ways I can
questions.
actually prepare myself, right? So is there something some book I need to read? Maybe I'm going into a conversation with somebody who triggers me emotionally. It's a family member that we can't get through a conversation without fighting. So what would help me? Maybe I meditate every day leading up to it. Maybe I meditate right before that conversation. Maybe I sit and define an outcome for myself that is actually productive. Let me do and say all the right things at the right time during this conversation that allow us both to connect on some level and find common ground with each other.
That is nice.
That's a lot more productive than worrying about what is she going to say to me now. I bet it's going to be really hurtful.
Yeah.
Like I can't take it if she says another thing about my hair.
Oh my
I'm going
gosh,
to
yes.
strangle, like
Yeah. The
how is that?
10,001 scenarios. That's gonna end up with you strangling her, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Wow. I can see this is, I've not heard like people talk about mindset as a mental discipline. And you are right. It really is because you just have to keep going at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
And the
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is, it becomes whatever you prioritize in your life becomes a habit. So if I prioritize worrying about what somebody might say or do in situations that haven't happened yet, I'm creating that mental habit for myself. I'm
Mm,
creating the habit of any situation that comes up. Somebody says, "Hey, can you have lunch with me next week?" I am now in that habit of answering the question, what is going to go wrong in this lunch?
yes. Yes.
Right? So if I'm in the habit of creating scenarios that are stressful for myself in my imagination, that is a habit. So if that's a habit, I can create a different habit. So now I can say, okay, so anytime I have a a new event added to my calendar, I am going to make a list of 3 things that can go right, 3 outcomes
Mm,
that I would like to have instead, right? So now, yes, in the beginning, it might be very uncomfortable because I might be in the habit of saying, immediately jumping to 3 things that might go wrong in that conversation, right? My
mm.
boss says, I want to talk to you. My mental habit might
Oh no.
be that, what did I do wrong now?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and that mental habit might be so automatic that I don't even realize I'm doing it. Immediately he says, I want to talk to you. I jump to, holy crap. Now let me make a list of all of the things I sent him, all of the things I said and did, and which one was the mistake, where did I go wrong, and that's my mental habit. So if that's my mental habit, then it's going to take mental discipline for me to catch myself and say, oh wow, look, I just went down that path.
Yes.
Let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's create a new mental habit which says, I wonder what he's going to compliment. Which one of
Mm.
these amazing things I did he's going to compliment now? Like I or maybe the mental habit of saying, I will cross that bridge when I get to it. I don't know what he
Right.
wants, and I'm going to just hear it out and trust myself that I'm going to have the resources to address it in the moment, right? So whatever that new mental habit is, it takes tremendous amount of mental discipline to implement that, to start making those little changes internally that allow us to kind of become those cooperative components for the things that we want to live and experience in this life.
I think this is so powerful. It's about what you want to experience in life and
Mhm.
not, and not be some passenger and then, looking back and then just complain about how
Mhm.
things have gone wrong and how
Yeah.
we are such victims of the circumstances around us because at every point you choose, right?
Yeah.
I think this is so important. But you know, I always I might be wrong here. The hardest part is always catching yourself doing it. Is that right?
Yeah. The hardest part is catching yourself, especially when things are automatic.
Yes. Yes. I
Uh,
mean, you could be doing this for
but it
3 hours,
takes,
ruminating on it, and then
yeah. But I think awareness, being able to, we're reading in our book club, in the Peace Unleashed book club, we're reading James Clear's Atomic Habits.
okay.
And in the first few chapters, he talks about um, this technique of pointing and calling out something, because when things become, when you do something 1,000 times,
Mhm.
and our mental habits, we do them tens of thousands of times, we do them thousands of times within a span of a day, maybe,
Mhm.
right? So when you do something thousands of times, it becomes so automatic, we never question it. So when we call it out loud, or even internally to ourselves, it takes it from that subconscious mind, that automatic mind, that automated mind, into conscious mind. And when you think about it, every habit that we have, whether it's mental or physical, at some point, it was a decision. It was a conscious decision to do it, right? We may not have had that awareness that it's happening, right? But at some point, we chose it. We chose that. And when you think that at some point, all of these bad mental habits I have, all of these belief structures I have that get in my way, at some point, I thought it served me, so I chose it. Then we can also choose something. It, we can actually deliberately do that. So pointing and calling it out. For instance, my boss says, I want to talk to you. I immediately jump to, these 10 million things that I've done wrong. If I get into the habit of calling out my internal habits, the things that I'm doing, right? I'm going to say, negative thought patterning,
Mhm.
doomsday scenario. I'm building up a doomsday scenario, and I say that out loud. I mean, it
Okay.
sounds ridiculous, right?
Okay. Yeah,
It's
it does. It does.
jumping to conclusions.
Mhm.
One of our book club members says, let it be known, meaning when something is happening internally for you, say it out loud. Say it out loud.
That's really calling it out. And then, yeah, you're right. It makes it sound ridiculous.
Huh?
It
Yeah,
really does make it sound ridiculous.
yeah. And then once you call it out, once you let it be known, then you can look at it, because now it's no longer buried, under a pile of crap inside of a drawer. It's
Mhm.
out on the dresser, and you
Mm.
can be like, oh, doomsday scenario. Do
Yes,
I want to
yes.
keep the doomsday scenario? And now I'm consciously choosing if I want to continue thinking about all of the things that, the list of stuff I did wrong that my boss is going to call me out on. Now I'm choosing that doomsday
Mm.
scenarioing, right? So
Mhm.
now I can be like, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. I have no idea what he wants to talk to me about. Maybe he wants to congratulate me on something cool, right? Maybe it
Yeah.
has to do with something I have no idea. Maybe he wants to tell me a secret. I
Yeah,
don't
or
know.
a race,
So, yeah. So let's cross that bridge when we get into that conversation.
My other question, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of so many ways. This is so good because it's so tangible. It's not just like being aware, but you're really like, pointing it and examining it 3D, turning it left, right, center. Um,
Yeah.
if you are able to stop this kind of a general thought pattern, would it then be applicable to other areas of negative thought patterns? Like, say, if this person is afraid of the boss and then the boss calls him out, and then what if this person is afraid of the wife calling him out? Maybe,
Yeah.
is it applicable? Like, do they see improvements in that area as well, or is it just, do they have to decide beforehand that this is just for my boss, or will
Yeah.
they also see the change when it comes to dealing with another person they may be afraid of as well?
Yeah. I think once we start developing mental awareness and mental discipline, it bleeds into every aspect of our lives. It both mental habits that we have, right, which goes into mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and also physical habits that we have,
Mm.
right? So maybe I lose my temper very quickly with my children, right? And that kind of mental awareness of the way I speak to myself
Mm-hmm.
is also going to make me aware of the way I speak to my kids.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Yes.
So
Yes,
being
definitely. It's a
able
way of
to,
speaking to yourself. Yes.
yeah, so being able to call it out when I'm in conversation with myself internally, bring that to the surface,
Mm-hmm.
allows me to see how I'm behaving in the world at large as well.
Mm.
Right? So becoming aware is such a powerful, just a powerful thing to implement in life in general, because it allows us to show up more consciously in no matter what it is that we're doing in any area of our lives.
Yes. I just think that, what about, okay, sorry, I'm thinking a lot of things right now. What about those people who feel, I've heard that people, no, I know I've experienced it. You know, you kind of feel good when you're in that anger mode, when you're like, it's not, you would think it's powerful, but it's not. And it just feels totally like, you know, you are this contained person and then suddenly you're just like, it exploded over the parameters. And there's a certain feeling of goodness to it, like you feel good about it. And
Yeah.
how do you help with that? Like, what do you do during that kind of situation?
Well, I think for a lot of people, especially in our society nowadays, anger is an improvement over, is a higher vibrational emotion than most of the emotions they might be experiencing. Because anger is actually a higher vibrating emotion than depression, than fear,
Mm,
feeling
mm,
helplessness,
mhm,
right? So,
mhm.
and I think the general emotional signature in our society seems to be one of helplessness, of fear, of anxiety. There's of depression. There's a lot of suicidal ideation happening, right? Because people don't know what to do. And in those cases, anger definitely is an improvement. It
Right.
feels better to feel angry because at least you feel alive,
Yes, there you're actually
right?
feeling something instead of like emptiness that you cannot pinpoint on, right?
Absolutely. You're feeling something, you're feeling more alive, you have more energy. Uh, the and for a lot of people, I think anger might be the highest vibrating emotion that is accessible to them. So then they get stuck in there.
Okay.
They get stuck in anger,
I
right?
see.
But
Okay.
there's the whole world above anger.
Mm,
So once you surpass anger, once you start getting into hope,
mm,
getting into excitement, getting into positive anticipation, even satisfaction,
mhm.
and those emotions are not accessible to a lot of people, unfortunately, right? But that's the mental discipline and that continued um, commitment to prioritizing and choosing thought patterns that make us feel more in alignment with ourselves, make us feel more like ourselves,
Mhm.
are going to help us move up that emotional scale into those higher vibrating emotional states of being,
Okay. I have
right?
not heard of that. I mean, that's a really important thought because people talk about anger as if you're letting out, right? You're bursting with emotions, and yeah, you're right. It's better than I guess, yeah, it's really much better than feeling repressed and do not know what to do about it.
Yeah.
I I wanted to ask you about this. How does mindset play a role when it comes to, like, say, health per se? You know, like somebody's in a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain. Like, how much of a mindset is involved here, and does it help on the overall?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your pain level, and I don't know exact studies on this, uh, but uh, when you think about it, let me see, what am I trying to say? Your physical body
Mm-hmm.
is very connected to your non-physical body, the non-physical part of you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Which are
So
the
your
emotions?
internal, yeah, so your internal state of being has huge impact on your physical body. Now, studies are showing, for instance, that when you meditate,
Mm-hmm.
right, just meditating 10 minutes a day,
Mm.
you start changing your body on a cellular level, on a physiological level.
10
You
minutes a day.
just 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes of meditation a day, it actually starts changing your brain.
Mm.
It shrinks your amygdala, which is the stress center of your brain. It's the part of your brain that fight or flight is kind of rooted in.
Mm-hmm.
It builds more gray matter in your brain, so you can be more creative. You can create more connections.
Mm.
You can learn faster. On with your heart, it sends your heart into coherence. Uh, all of the organs in your body synchronize with the heart. Your heart has neurons. It has 40,000 neurons in it. Just like the brain, it actually sends more signals to the brain than the other way around. And that's because your brain synchronizes to your heart rhythm. So why is that important? Because when your heart is out of sync and
Mm.
it's erratic, it
Mm-hmm.
creates illness in the body, right? It throws all of the organs in your body off. So now your heart goes into coherence. You're on a cellular level. Your cells are more oxygenated. They operate at optimum capacity. So what does that all mean to the human person? It means that mindfulness, meditation, commitment to improving your mindset,
Mm-hmm.
they have real physiological impact on the body. So people who meditate, for instance, this is measured, they heal faster. They are less stressed.
Mm.
They are more creative. They
Mm.
solve problems more quickly. They can see connections between things more quickly. They can see connections that other people may not be able to see.
Mm-hmm.
They age slower. They
Mm.
heal faster.
Mm-hmm.
um, they get sick less. So all of these amazing things happen to the body. And my guess, and I don't have a study in front of me to say this, but my guess is that these people can also endure higher qualities of pain because they don't feel it. It's not that they don't feel the pain.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of disconnect from identifying with the pain.
There is space in between you and the pain.
Yeah, so you're able to kind of um, see the pain from outside of it. And there are types of meditation that actually uh, they focus on sensations on the body. For example, Vipassana meditation is like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in Vipassana, you focus on the sensation, whatever it is, and you're meditating 12 hours a day in complete silence, focusing on these sensations, and your body expels pain that it's holding on to, that it's been holding on to.
Mm-hmm.
So you might feel an excruciating pain. And the most incredible thing that happens is that when you find a way to separate yourself and disassociate and disidentify with the pain
Mm-hmm.
that's happening, and you're just able to see the sensation as yet another sensation, completely equanimous. That's the word they use, with a lot of equanimity. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't make it a good thing, you don't make it a bad thing. And I've experienced this at Vipassana retreats. The pain intensifies to a point, and then when you disassociate from it, the pain dissolves completely.
Wow.
And it goes from excruciating pain in one moment, and then in the moment of just complete separation from the pain dissolves. It actually literally dissolves. I've experienced this in Vipassana meditation. And then one of my cousins, she gave birth twice with no
Oh
drug,
my gosh.
completely natural. And she did hypnosis, she did
Hypnobirthing.
hypnobirth.
Yeah.
And the first time she felt all the pain, and and it was excruciating. And then the second time she was better at kind of doing the technique, and I haven't given birth that way, so I don't know the exact technique. And she said that at some point the pain completely dissolved, and she was in no pain at all, as though she was on medication, on the epidural.
Oh
But she
my
felt
goodness.
no pain at all. She felt just the pressure. And she was amazed by the body's ability to kind of separate itself completely from that pain. And that, to me, what it says to me personally is that pain lives in our definition of it, right? There's information
Yes.
within the pain, obviously, right? It's telling you, hey, check out this cut on your arm.
Oh,
It might get infected, don't put your hand on that burning fire, like there's information in it. But I think at some point we can extract the information from it without the actual experience of the pain. And yeah, I think there's a real interesting correlation between pain and mindfulness mindset that you brought up.
because I'm asking about this because I find that people in pain has a lot of emotions behind it. And yeah, like you said, part of the pain is really how we feel about it a lot of times. And I went through hypnobirthing, let me tell you this, and I went to the course because I was so afraid of pain. And I know a little bit about meditation, mindfulness, but I was so afraid of the
Oh,
pain associated with giving birth. And I read this fantastic account of women who gave birth without pain, and it just blew my mind. But I know at some parts of me, like I still didn't believe it. But I tried it anyway. And I realized when the pain was a little bit stronger, the fear came inside me. Oh my gosh, what if the epidural is not on time? Oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work out? And all this, in other words, my mental discipline was
that
there,
and that was
right?
my cousin's first experience.
And she
Was
did it
that
without hypnobirthing, the first experience.
Yeah, both of them, both of her births, she did hypnobirthing, and the
Okay.
first one, she got into her head, and then
Yes.
it didn't work. But the second one, she said the pain just went away.
Oh my gosh. You see, like, it's accounts like this that I really think that the pain we feel, it's so much more. Yeah, there is mental discipline involved. Like when the fear comes on, then here's what I'm going to say to myself, right? And we have to plan it out beforehand. Is that correct? Do we have to like plan it out beforehand what we're going to say?
When the fear comes, yeah, I find that for me there are just a few like blanket mantras that work really well.
Okay.
you know and having them in your back pocket, like
Mm-hmm.
having them kind of like planned in your back pocket is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
One of my mantras is everything is working out
Mm-hmm.
for me. Even the situation, like if it's a situation that doesn't seem like it's working out for me, even this situation is for my benefit. And just having these things. Another mantra I have is your my body is a lot stronger than my mind
Mm-hmm.
wants to think it is. Like my body can do a lot more than I give it permission, and to do, and my body can handle this, you know. Um, so just kind of, and I think these are kind of rooted in a deep trust, deep understanding that we are more than the physical body.
Mm,
We are, you know, these great energetic beings having a physical experience,
mm,
and the bodies we have chosen are perfect. They are exactly the bodies that we want to be in, and they are very capable.
mm.
You know, they're very capable.
That's nice. That's nice. And I think so for anything that comes out, if we repeat these one or two mantras that we have planned out beforehand, uh, then that would be so helpful. You know,
Might
my
be
other
different for
question.
every person.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Yes.
those might be different for every person. You know,
Yes.
like
Yes.
these are the ones that kind of work for me.
What would you say if, let's say, this, you know, when the person is reciting the mantra, and then there's this naggy feeling that, you know, like you don't believe it 100%. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. I mean, I would think it happened quite frequently as well. Does it still work then in that case?
Yeah. So I would soften the mantra a little bit.
Okay.
So I would soften it by saying something like, I am in the process of learning
Mm,
that everything is always working out for me.
mm,
I am in the process of discovering that my body is strong
mm.
and capable, right? So just
Okay.
adding that little sentence in the
I'm in the
beginning,
process
it
of.
it takes it, you know, it kind of silences that part of the brain that's going to
Mhm.
say, well, no, not everything is
Yeah,
working
yeah,
out.
yes. You have 30
I'm in the
years of
process.
experience. All right. Okay, that's a good one. I'm in the process of something. Okay.
Mhm.
And um, sorry, I have so many questions to ask you, but the one that I have in mind right now, it's about how does meditation help with the mental discipline? Or meditation is mental discipline, that's why.
That is a wonderful question. Meditation is very interesting. I find that meditation is one of the most kind of underrated and misunderstood tools
Mm-hmm.
that we have. Meditation is actually a gym for your mind. It's an exercising device for your mind, right? Think of it as dumbbells for your
Mm-hmm.
brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you go to the gym, you do push-ups, you exercise, and you do that because you want to strengthen your body.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we sit in meditation is because we want to strengthen our mind. So how does it work? It's very simple technique. In meditation, you essentially decide on what I call a home base. And a home base is something, some place that I want to focus my attention. So my home base can be my breath going in and out of my nostrils. It
Mm-hmm.
can be the flicker of a candle if I want to look at that. It can be music. You can play meditation music and just listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
It can be the sensations of the body. It can be the hum of an air conditioner. It can essentially be anything. But the important thing is that you want to choose it. You want to say, you know what, I'm going to sit for 60 seconds, and all I'm going to do is focus on my breath going in and out of my nostrils. All I'm going to do is focus on this piece of music for 60 seconds. That's it. That's all you need. 60 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want to do, right? And here is where the push up for your brain happens. You sit and you start focusing on your breath going in and out of your nostrils. Your mind is designed to think. Its job is literally to think. You have 30 to 80,000 thoughts every single day, and it's
Oh,
good. Your mind
okay.
is supposed to think. It's a problem solver. It's you want it to do that, right? So you sit there for 60 seconds, your timer is set, your home base is your breath, and your mind starts telling you things like, you don't have time for this. You need to go to your shopping list. Oh my God, did you remember to put honey on your shopping list? Do you, oh my goodness, you forgot to call your sister.
Yes.
Your,
Yes.
what are you doing? You can't just sit there. Your mind starts doing that. So where is the push up? It's wonderful that your mind is doing that.
Okay.
Because here's the push-up. Your mind does that, and you, as the consciousness, as the thinker, you all of a sudden realize that, oh, look, I'm thinking.
Mm.
I'm thinking about my shopping list. In that moment, you have separated your identity, yourself, from the thought. Because here's the thing, if you are the person thinking the thought that you need to go put honey on your shopping list, then that thought is not who you are. Powerful moment. So
Yes.
now you have become the thinker. You're no longer the thought, you're the thinker. Now what do? In meditation, your job, this is your push-up here. Your job is to let go of that thought and say, that's interesting that I just thought of that. I'm just going to let go of that. And then you bring your attention back to your breath going in and out of your nostrils. So that is one push up for your mind. That is thought awareness. That's mental discipline to let it go. That is becoming a deliberate creator by choosing where you want your attention to be, which is on your home base, right? So you have now just strengthened your mind. What is the difference between a 60-second meditation and a 60-minute meditation? The only difference is that in a 60-minute meditation, you have more opportunity to do more push-ups with your mind.
Okay.
The goal is not to attain a blissful state of no thought. That might happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen even for most meditators. Most meditators, even if you've been meditating 30 years, you might sit in meditation for 2 hours and not have more than a single breath of awareness, right? But that is not the goal. The goal is not to empty your mind completely, although that is a side effect of meditation. Your goal is to become aware of the fact that you're thinking, choose to let go of that thought, and then choose to bring your attention back to your home base. That's your goal. Because then you're driving down the freeway, somebody cuts you off, you get triggered because your mind starts going into this story that I'm invisible, nobody ever cares about me. Look, even this a-hole is like cutting me, feeling like he can cut me off because I don't matter. Like your mind goes into crazy places. And then in that moment, you can become the thinker. Oh, wow, look, this guy just cut me off. And my mind just went there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So far out. Yes.
Let me let go of that thought. What can I think that feels better? What can I think that feels better? Well, maybe his wife is about to give birth. Like he's in a hurry. Maybe he's having a rough day. I hope he figures this out. He's going to get himself killed. Like that's no way to live. Like good luck, guy. I'm just going to take 2 deep breaths and center myself. And, thank you for bringing awareness of this moment into my life. Now I can pause. What a blessing it was that he cut me off, because now I can take a couple of deep breaths and center myself. Right. So now that technique of meditation, I'm using it in real life.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The muscles that I use, that I strengthen during push-ups, I can use them to lift stuff in my life, to move furniture, whatever I want to do. And I can, the same way, I can use that strengthened mental ability, that mental discipline, that mental awareness in my life to choose thoughts and behaviors and belief patterns that actually serve me rather than get in my way. So I would say meditation is the most underrated, most effective ways to do that.
This is like, wow. I think this is amazing. I think that I really like the part when you say the moment you stop, that you separate yourself from the thought, because otherwise you're just following the thought all day long. And yeah, like you say, it could take you to, I don't know, the ends of the world with it. And
and most people live that way And that's why most people are living, in the middle of a storm, essentially,
Yes. Yes.
and thoughts are happening to them, therefore life is happening to them, therefore states of being are happening to them. They have no control over how they feel and
Mhm.
what they think. And as a result of that, they have no control over the life that they live.
Wow.
Because
It's
the
so
way
powerful. Yes.
we choose our life is by choosing our thoughts and choosing the way we are showing up, right?
Hmm.
The way that we feel in the moment. They're very connected. Choosing thoughts that make us feel better about ourselves and our circumstances. That is the key.
Yeah. And what I hear from you throughout the whole process of, pushing, not pushing that thought, but recognizing that thought and letting it go and recognizing that thought. It's like at every junction, you are making a choice. It's very conscious. Yeah, you're very conscious about and deliberate about making these choices as you go along. And in that too, there is practice of you taking ownership of your life and making these choices for yourself instead of just trailing along.
Yeah. I love that you use that word ownership, right? Because it's very tempting to say that life is happening to me and I don't have control.
So tempting.
But
Yeah.
there's no power in that. If
Mm.
life is happening to you, you're going to continue living the crappy life that you've always been living because you're not taking ownership. But
Mm.
the moment we say, okay, maybe this isn't the life that I consciously want to live, but it's one I have chosen by default.
Mm.
And if I can create this with without any awareness, imagine what I can create with awareness,
Oh my
with mental
gosh.
discipline,
Yes.
with
Yes.
prioritizing my mindset.
That gives me the goosebumps. That is
Oh,
so
it's
good.
so powerful.
Yes, so powerful. Do you have any, do you have any like personal stories or stories from clients that went through this and saw transformation? Like, just to share it with our audience.
I have we have a friend who about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, she came into our community. I was speaking at a conference, and she asked a question, and I answered it. And then afterwards, she came up and started talking to me, and I invited her to our meditation parties. We used to have
Meditation
these
party.
before the quarantine, these
Oh,
meditation parties. It was a dinner party. We'd cook for everybody, and then
okay.
meditate for 15 minutes and then celebrate people's birthdays. So this person, she struggled with severe eating disorders for 20 years and body dysmorphia, um, and she had a show called I'm Too Fat for This Show that she invited us to, and it's brilliant. It's this brilliant one woman show. And fast forward, and her name is Kate Huffman. And if anybody struggles with body dysmorphia, eating disorders, I would really highly recommend looking her up. Fast forward to today,
Mhm.
to this year, about uh, about I think maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, maybe she started something inside of her shifted, and the shift became so had so much momentum that people on the outside in the world were able to see the shift.
Right.
And she can tell you her story, all of the different steps. But today, this woman is one of the most vibrant, incredible human beings. And she started her coaching just over during the quarantine. She created this workshop about just owning yourself, becoming that badass person who you are and not being driven by by eating disorders and your idea of your body and actually falling in love with yourself. And I attended her workshop. I led meditations at her workshop, and they are so powerful, so incredibly powerful. And she was able to take the most this painful journey of almost killing yourself multiple times, being in hospitals because she weighed nothing, being anorexic and having severe body pains pretty much all of her life, and just turn all of it around on its head and turn it into this incredible support group where she teaches the tools, the internal tools of falling in love with yourself.
Wow.
Like, how do you fall in love with yourself if you have hated yourself, hated your body pretty much all your life? Like, how do you do that? I mean, her workshop and the testimonials out of that are incredible. Like, she's helping people create that bridge into their own hearts, and that is an incredible success story, of somebody who
Yeah.
started doing this work for herself internally,
Mm.
and then now is able to kind of teach it in this very specific space and help other people do this work for themselves.
Wow, that's like a total 360, from
Oh,
hating to committing to wanting to commit suicide and to, wow. And through that's meditation and mental discipline.
meditation, we call it mind food, saturating yourself with um, having the mental discipline to choose the path that makes you a cooperative component to yourself, right?
I must say,
that
wow.
helps you elevate your mindset, your mental state of being.
But there must be that opening in her as well that wanted to feel better, right?
I think everybody
That
uh,
opening. Okay.
has that, right? We all want to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
We all, on some level, we want to be loved. We want to love. We want connection. We
Mm.
want compassion. We want to be understood. We want to feel better. We want to live our best lives.
Mm.
And we don't know how to do that. And I think it's because a lot of the messaging in society is upside down, right? We're told at such young ages that um, that what we instinctively know is not right or is not true, that we need to live up to
Mm.
other people's standards, to their idea of who we should be, right?
Mm.
And it takes, so we lose ourselves. We make love conditional. We make self-love conditional.
Mm.
And it becomes then this journey back into finding ourselves. And I think these, what we teach at Peace Unleashed, what Kate Huffman teaches with her workshops, these are all doorways. They're doorways that help people who are looking to find their way back into themselves, into being who they actually are.
This is so amazing. Wow, I just this is really powerful, and I can see how it would help so many people, whether be it in their stressful lives that they lead every day or the health problems that we're facing, and the kind of conflicts that we go through with people and our personal relationships as well. Ellie, I do not want to hold you up anymore. It's been so great. Shall we round off with a meditation together?
Sure. Yeah. So let's do something kind of fun.
Okay.
if you're listening to this, if you're watching this and you have the ability to close your eyes, do that. If you don't have the ability to close your eyes, don't close your eyes. So if you're driving, do not close your eyes. But see if you can just breathe with us. Okay, so if you're closing your eyes, do that. If you're not, just breathe with us, and just sit with your back straight, and close your eyes if you can, and allow your breath to go in and out of your nostrils. And for just a moment, see if you can become very aware of where your breath is, just noticing it exactly where it is. If it's shallow, letting it be shallow. If it's deep, letting it be deep. And see if you can just kind of observe your breath as if it's the first time you're observing this breath, becoming really curious about it. And knowing that this is your home base, anytime, any place, you can always come back to this home base whenever you need it. And just becoming very aware of the breath. And as you're aware of the breath, see if you can relax into the breath. And relax into that space between your exhale, when all of the air has left your lungs, and your inhale. So before the next air just comes into your body on its own, see if you can hang out in that space for just a bit longer. See if you can milk that space, that moment. And as you hang out in that stillness, how does your body feel? Maybe you feel your shoulders letting go, something you've been carrying just dropping away. And maybe you feel tension releasing between your vertebrae in that space, and those muscles alongside your vertebrae, and just kind of dropping away. And as you become aware of your body, you might see any tension you're holding on to, whether it's in your hips or your legs or your arms. You might kind of let go, as if you let go of a glass of water and let the water drop to the ground. You let go of the tension and let it just drop to the ground. What does it feel like to let go of that tension? And let it just drop off your body. And as you let this tension drop away inside your hands, you might feel a gentle tingling sensation, a sort of aliveness in your palms, in your hands. And acknowledge now that this energy, this is energy, this is the energy that is you, and it's infinite. You might even feel this energy outside of your hands in that space between your fingers. And this energy occupies the entirety of your body, the whole of you. It's the greater, grander, this infinite part of you. And as you're aware of this energy, you might feel your breath a little bit deeper. Now allow your breath to seep into your belly. Fill up your belly all the way. Fill up your chest all the way. Take the biggest breath you can. And then hold your breath at the very top. Hold your breath and just suspend yourself. Maybe even hug yourself with an energetic love hug. Like you love yourself, you appreciate yourself. you are here in the physical form and you are real, you're a creator, you're capable, you're whole. And then sigh as you let go of the air. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
It's beautiful. I really like the energy on the palm.
Yeah, you feel it, right?
Yes, yes, I definitely did. And
Mm-hmm.
that is that same energy that we have all over us, and the same energy outside as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are such powerful beings.
So powerful. Thank you so much, Ellie, for coming on. It's really such an honor, and it's this information is so important to people, and you have been able to articulate it so beautifully and very tangibly for me, and I believe for a lot of people who may be new to this as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been such a pleasure. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I hope to see you again real soon.
Oh yes, one day I'm going to travel to California sometime.
Please,
Take
please
care.
stay with us.
Yeah. Oh really? No, I was at California. I was at California just last year, actually.
Oh, definitely come and visit. Yeah, it would be wonderful to have you here.
I think we were at where was that? Thousand Oaks.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
close.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think U.S. is beautiful to travel in with all the nature.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Ellie, I will thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I think it's so beautiful what you have shared. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to send this to my video editor, and then he's
Hmm.
going to break it into this mini clips.
Hmm.
And I'll post it up. The full video, I'll post it up on YouTube. When I'm posting it, I'll let you know as well. And when the mini clips are done with the subtitles and the bars and all that for your Facebook and IG, I'll send it over to you. There'll be probably about 5 minute clips altogether, just
Okay.
1 minute each.
Perfect. Yeah. And then once you have those, I'm happy to share it on all of our social media and get it out.
Thank you. Do you have any freebie or anything like that you want people to go to that I can put it up for you?
Sure. Yeah, I have I can what do you think would be good? I have an ebook that's a gratitude ebook. I have meditations I can send to them. Um, what else? I think those would be good. We have a meditation course, but we have a lot of guided meditations on our YouTube channel,
Oh, that is
which um, but I think uh, I can also send them like a I have a meditation that is 14 minutes that's really popular. It's a changing limiting beliefs meditation, and I can
yeah.
send that one. So you identify a limiting belief and then you replace it with
Okay.
one that you want. Yeah. Maybe that's a good one.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you do that? Do you need the file from me, or do you want to say have them email me for it, or how do you
Is
normally
there a
do that?
link to YouTube or anywhere like that? Or to the website where they can sign up? That's what we
Um,
so it doesn't so you don't so it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
be
Yeah, so let me put something together and I'll send it. Um, you know, I think the 14-minute meditation is on YouTube too. Uh, so I can just send you our YouTube and have them just subscribe on there.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, I think I need to like set up a landing or some kind of a God, I need to do that. Some kind of a freebie to give them.
Yeah. Because I realized, because we didn't talk about this beforehand, that's why I didn't ask. But yeah, let me know. I'm going to put it up on the show notes. At least, people can get in touch with you or anything like that.
When do you think this will be out?
Probably in 2 weeks' time. He needs some time to edit the video.
No, that's perfect. So maybe I can put something together within the next couple weeks and send you. You can always update the link, right?
Yeah,
In the
I
show
can always
notes.
update the link. Yes. Okay.
So I'll put something together. I'll put like a little landing page together that they can go to and then get some freebies. We're transitioning our website from Kajabi to New Zenler, and I really like New Zenler. Are you on Kajabi?
No, I'm not on Kajabi. I'm on Member Vault. Kajabi,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't really work for me. Let me turn on the lights here.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm on another site called Member Vault.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't really like Kajabi, but I'm moving it from to New Zenler, so I'm like slowly transitioning stuff over. So
Okay.
I'll create something like a freebies page, which I need to do anyway, um, on the new site, and then I'll send you the link to it so that they can go and they can grab like a
Yeah.
bunch of freebies,
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much, Ellie. Really, I appreciate this so
Thank
much.
you so much. Yeah, this was great. I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Me too. I learned so much. Like, I mean, I've heard this before, and I've been trying to do this, but to listen to you speak like that, I really don't think I have heard anybody say that. Honest.
Uh,
Yes.
We
And
get that a lot, like the way we explain meditation. A lot of our clients say that. They're like, we had one lady, she said she attended one of our workshops on meditation, and she said she's had cancer, and for 15 years she's been going to meditation classes and trying to make it part of her life.
whoa.
And this was the first time she understood meditation. Like it it was like a really for us it was like a big moment, because I'm like, wow, this is really resonating with people.
Yes, it is. It is such a gift. Such a gift, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it resonated with you as well.
No, I did, and that's what I keep telling my students as well. Aromatherapy is one part, but there's so many other things you can do for yourself, and meditation is high on the list,
Mhm.
and it's part of getting to know yourself as well.
Yeah.
And I asked about the health because so many of them are going through pain. Like it's really there's so much pain, right? And we
Yeah.
want to be able to work with that too. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Thank
And let's
you.
stay in
Have a good one,
touch.
Kwon.